Swapnil Bhartiya here, and welcome to TFR. Let's talk about cloud-native computing. It's a special edition of Let's Talk for KubeCon, and today we have with us Somik Behera, founding head of products at CloudNatix. Somik, it's great to have you on the show.
Likewise, Swap.
This is the first time I have met someone from CloudNatix, so I need to learn a bit about the company. Tell me about the company, your partners, and what problems are you trying to solve for the cloud-native community?
CloudNatix is a software as a service platform that is launching right now. And we are trying to effectively bring a planet scale cluster manager to market that is delivered as a service that works across Kubernetes clusters, virtual machines, cloud accounts, on-prem data centers, and unifies them to a whole unified aggregated cluster across the globe, driving up human efficiency as well as machine efficiency using a technology called Autopilot that Google pioneered years ago. We started CloudNatix because our founder and CEO, Rohit Seth, who invented containers at Google in 2007, he saw some of the problems that enterprises are seeing today back at Google in 2007. Namely, the reason containers were funded at Google, the reason it was invented was because Google's entire fleet, when he joined Google in 2006, was running under 20% utilization. And their environment looks much like today's enterprise environment, where they had multiple pools of compute. They had Borg, which was search's backyard, and then they had new businesses coming online. So that creates heterogeneous pools of infrastructure. Come 2007, the recession hits. Cost becomes the number one priority. Google's a public company. A new CFO comes online, and this is front and center from a cost reduction and a business agility perspective. Containers were the solution back then, but there were a lot of pieces to containers that were added at Google. Namely, Borg had to schedule containers and address these new Google services like Gmail at planet scale. And they had to invent a key technology called Autopilot and that's what helped Google achieve 80%, 90% utilization across millions of cores. Fast forward to 2020, we believe this is what every company is working with, and every company now has infrastructure that spans multiple clusters at the minimum and multiple clouds on the other side, and they're grappling with agility as well as cost challenges. And we believe the same problem that Google had in 2007 is what enterprises have today, and we can help them solve it with CloudNatix platform.
These days, we talk a lot about challenges of managing Kubernetes at scale. I want to hear from you quickly. First of all, what are the challenges that users, customers face, and how are you approaching it?
So, there are a few challenges. As customers have adopted cloud and gone into a cloud-first architecture and increasingly a cloud-native architecture, we believe and we see the next evolution of this architecture is to build multi-cloud native applications, which means that you have applications which will span clusters at the minimum and clouds on the other periphery. As you go to this more heterogeneous, complex environment, there are some key elements that were in the realm of hyperscale companies are becoming the problems of every enterprise out there. Namely, cost goes through the roof. Complexity of manageability of multiple clusters is a lot harder, and therefore the business suffers. It suffers via explosion of costs or reduced availability of service your SLOs of your different applications.
You mentioned Autopilot already. If I may also ask, you explained how you are looking at the problem. Now just look at the tech stack that you are building, or that's the major announcement here at KubeCon as well. So let's talk about the announcement, and then we'll talk about the core components that makes up this service.
Of course. So the CloudNatix platform can abstract clusters of machines, even clouds, by aggregating and stitching together all of them together as a single whole, and create a giant warehouse scale cluster, if you will, that works at planet scale, using enterprises' existing cloud accounts or data center machines. We just stitch it together to be one uniform whole. Once we do that, we leverage machine learning and our autopilot technology to continuously optimize capacity of containerized workloads as well as virtual machine workloads while automating its placement as well as connectivity and security, so that the amount of cloud waste a company has is reduced. Uh, Outages are reduced because we remediate any availability issues that comes up during the course of business. And that's what CloudNatix brings to the to customers, reducing their cost, reducing human toil, increasing efficiency, increasing application delivery agility, and without having to rip and replace anything. We can work with their existing virtual machines, existing Kubernetes clusters, or we can even kind of manage and bring up a new Kubernetes clusters and manage it from day zero onwards. And we are designed to meet enterprises where they are at today.
When you said that you meet enterprises where they are, so enterprises are in the different stages of their cloud native or digital transformation journey. Some are far advanced and already have Kubernetes like things in production, and some still have legacy environments. So how do you meet them in where they are in the journey? How do you help them with irrespective of what kind of environment they have?
Very good question, Swap. So our customer base where today spans from customers who are in early cloud adoption. There are few folks who have adopted cloud, they're automating. And then there are customers who are advanced customers like viewers tuning into KubeCon edition, and they're using multi-cloud native or cloud native architectures. For a customer who is adopting cloud today, our platform's ability to have global visibility and intelligence, cost and operational intelligence is key. For customers who have adopted and cloud, they're looking for automation. So that's where we bring in CloudNatix Insights, ability to leverage the power of machines to recommend what the customer can do to increase efficiency on utilization, as well as kind of automating and increasing availability. And then finally, the more advanced customers who are adopting Kubernetes, they're looking at our core autopilot technology, not to understand using insights, but actually act on those insights, and then automate that life cycle so that your Kubernetes deployments, your virtual machine deployments, your pods, your stateful sets are continuously optimized, reducing your cost. And then if it detects there's going to be an outage, it can size it back up so that you avoid an outage. And that's how, doesn't matter how advanced a customer you are, we can insert in your environment and take you through the journey to become a cloud native and a multi-cloud native enterprise and do it faster than any other way.
Some of the challenges that you mentioned have been addressed. There are a lot of players in this. Cloud native is a very, very busy space. How do you set yourself apart from them? You did mention how you are approaching it differently, but if you can talk about what kind of folks you're competing against and what edge you have over them.
Of course. So from a market perspective, there are companies which focus on observability, and that's great. We work with them. But today, there is no observability company that is a cluster manager. Then there are companies which focus on cloud native architectures, Kubernetes deployment, and just bring up of an infrastructure. We believe the cloud providers themselves, like AKS are doing a great job at handling that complexity. Then there are cost optimizers. There are companies out there who just kind of automate, give you insights on cost management, cloud health, etc. out there. We give you some recommendation. We are, if you will, an intersection of all of these players. We provide you unified visibility. We work with observability platforms. We help you operate, understand that visibility with insights, and then act on those insights because we are a cluster manager ourselves. And finally, we do something unique that nobody in the market does, is autopilot it. Not only act once, but act continuously and optimize continuously and operate your global infrastructure continuously. So to net it out, there are a lot of players. An enterprise can go and start to stitch it together. It is a very complex problem. We have seen it firsthand at hyperscalers, and they had a tough time doing it. Google was in what's called code zero. It's like code red. While they had to adopt this technology of autopilot and Linux containers, we believe, and while enterprise can build this kind of architecture themselves by adopting multiple things, it's going to be a lot easier having a unified platform, which can help you observe, understand, act, and automate your multi-cloud environment and your multi-cluster environment.
Who is your target audience? And in most cases, what happens is when you do announce these kind of projects, there is already a user base. People are already using it in production. So can you talk about, first of all, target audience? And if you can share some use cases, of course, you can or cannot name the companies if you want to, but I'm really interested in the use cases and the target audience.
Our target audience are enterprise customers who are struggling with scaling across the cloud native and cloud initiatives. They have more than one cloud environment, or at least more than one Kubernetes cluster. So that's key. And the DevOps engineers, the DevOps managers, the VPs and CTOs are how we enter into customer accounts, who we have the first conversation. The first conversation starts off with the cost problem. The more we dig deep into it, it turns out to be a complexity problem. And then finally, most customers don't have time to adopt a solution. Like we talked about observability vendors, we talked about different Kubernetes distribution. They just don't have time. So we have created a simplified SaaS solution. You click a button, takes 5 minutes to attach your cluster. We go in and we become your virtual operations team that stitches this thing together and drives up efficiency, increases availability, and gets you going on your business.
Somik, thank you so much for taking time out today and talk about CloudNatix. And I look forward to our next conversation. Thank you.
Thanks, Swap. Appreciate it. Bye.